Turn on the lights, feel the beat. Press and tails can't be beat. Join the crew, take your seat. Welcome to the wrestle heat. Now the birds fly, time to fly. Stories don't catch your eye. Talking champs till we die. The smoke's always high.
We'll see that. Everybody who wants to call themselves a contender, everybody who thinks they want to be somebody in this business, they will see that and they will run and hide, and we will continue to do whatever the hell we want in AEW because I command the AEW World Championship and we have the power.
All right. Let me stop that right there. Welcome to the Malapert Mark podcast. I got Vlad with me, the wrestling expert. I try to play a little bit of AEW Dynamite from this past Wednesday. It was a big angle that they teased for the viewers on YouTube. I played some slides of the beginning of supposedly this was supposed to be a takeover of TBS, right? TBS Superstation, which AEW is airing on. So that's what they advertised. So we were all waiting for that, and the slides I just showed basically just showed what happened, which was kind of funny. It was supposed to be a JD Drake match, which I wonder who the fuck JD Drake was supposed to fight, because he's kind of been feuding with LFI a little bit, but he kind of lost that feud. I thought it was over, but anyway, so the Death Riders came out and they didn't let him come out, and I don't know what the match was. I never found out. I'm curious what Tony Khan booked for this day for JD Drake on Dynamite. I haven't seen him on Dynamite recently. A lot of Rampage, a lot of Collision, a lot of Ring of Honor, but anyways.
Okay.
So basically the taking over the TBS station was, I think, the camera guy, right? Marina Shafir went up to the camera guy and basically shoved him, and they kind of told him to get in the ring and shoot the shot. Like he wasn't going to do that anyways, right? So
you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah.
So basically, what's his name? Jon Moxley cut a promo about how he has the championship and he has the power to do whatever he wants, and that's why they're here stopping the show and stopping the match that was supposed to take place and cutting a promo. And so is that technically the power the champion has, Vlad, in any company? Does he have all the power? Can they just stop the show and take over the show and be like, hey, I'm the fucking champion? Like,
no. What? Obviously not. Obviously. When has that ever been the case?
I mean, I guess at times, like when Hogan did, okay, you know what? Let's just say it. We were all expecting some kind of NWO type storyline here. You know, something reminiscent of them taking over the production truck like Hall and Nash did. You know, actually not letting them air the show in some capacity. Or, you know, maybe in the ring, stopping a bunch of matches. Like the next match is going to come on. We're not going to let that happen. Nothing like that. So this has been a few days now, and I've seen a lot of people on the internet already comment on this about how pathetic it was. But anyways, I'll get comments from you in a minute. Let me just go ahead and finish what happened on this night real quick. But Orange Cassidy came out. He was going to cut a promo to retort what Jon Moxley said, and he said he's going to take that title back, and with that, take the power back in AEW. So, okay. And he also points out Wheeler Yuta as being one of the pawns in the Death Riders, and he's going to take him out next Wednesday before he fights Moxley at Full Gear. So then, basically, Moxley's crew is just going to leave. They're about to walk out, and that's when Darby Allin makes a surprise appearance, and he jumps off the I don't know what you call that, the balcony, sort of, I guess. Off the audience, and he jumps onto the Death Riders, and then there's a big melee. Here's Marina, you know, whacking Mark Briscoe with the briefcase, and she's gonna walk Jon Moxley out of here because, you know, he's like the president. She's like his Secret Service, I guess. So they go to the back. They're gonna jump in their car and run away, and I think Darby Allin basically jumps into the back of the pickup truck after them, and it's going to turn into a scene with Claudio and Darby Allin. So Claudio gets out of the car and does that spinny thing and slams Darby Allin into like the garage door, and that's when the Death Riders run off with Wheeler Yuta in the back seat. And then they show up an image of Darby Allin here for you YouTube viewers. He's all pissed off and he's hyped up and he's ready to fight them. So that was the angle on this day. This is November 13th. We're talking about on our review post I have a link in the description that will also have like a video if you guys really need to see the historical reference of what we're talking about. I know I glossed over it a lot, but it's angle number 7 in our review post that we've already posted for last Wednesday's Dynamite. But we're here to talk about it more in depth. And for that, I got Vlad, the wrestling expert. So this is our first topic of the day. No time limits. Sometimes I put a little time limit so we don't go on and on forever. But you know what? You actually text me today. You messaged me and said you requested special time to discuss AEW. So, well, first of all, I'll give our ratings for this.
Yeah.
So we did submit ratings for this. So here's our rating system for anyone new to the show. And, you know, for me, I gave it 2 thumbs down, man. I had to, because it was for the way it was hyped up and the way they, advertised it. It was such a dud. It was so bad. Like historically, in terms of wrestling, this was garbage. And you gave it a thumbs down. So you only gave it 1 thumbs down, a regular thumbs down. You didn't like it on our scale. I hated it. So
yeah.
All right.
And I think you said you were debating putting it in the made me sick. Potentially, right?
Yeah, I honestly almost should have. But all right, well, let me start with you. So give whatever thoughts you want first on this angle, I guess, if you want to talk about the Moxley taking over the Superstation angle, and then after that, whatever thoughts you want to give about AEW in general. But go ahead, man. Floor is yours. Vlad, the wrestling expert. Thank you for being on. Go ahead.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. No, I was okay. As far as this angle goes, I think we spoke on last week's show about how dumb it was to even state that Moxley is gonna take over something. He's gonna advertise that because it makes you look ridiculous as a company. Like, what? Why would you advertise a guy that's invading the company, quote unquote, as taking over the Superstation or taking over the show, whatever, however you want to word it or define it, right? That was bad. No. But then what all he did was take an AEW cameraman and put him in the ring, and that's how he took over the quote unquote the Superstation, or took over the shows. Obviously very underwhelming, to say it mildly, right? Because that cameraman was good. He's going to be there. He's there regardless, as you said. What's the difference?
JD Drake was the one guy, which, I could see them actually having a match for JD Drake. So, okay. But, still, that's the guy who...
JD Drake, come on.
That's the guy who...
real.
I know. That's the guy who did the job for the Death Riders on this day. Well, he took a steel chair shot to the back.
But that's all the people that have been doing the jobs for the most part is people that are on these other shows like Ring of Honor or Rampage or maybe even Collision, but that nobody's really watching and nobody cares. But these are the people that have jobs because of Tony Khan that probably don't deserve jobs in the first place. Or if they do, they I don't know. I don't know if they do or don't. I can't really tell you if any of them are any good at all. I would say they're probably not. So the point is, on that front, that's all they've been mostly working with, except for Darby, who, is an interesting character. And I guess if you want to say Orange Cassidy's a top guy in AEW, okay, fine. But he wouldn't be a top guy in any other company, in any other era, in any other planet except AEW, okay? So, yeah, that's basically why this whole thing is fizzled out from the beginning, from the get-go. It's made no sense as an angle, and the people they're working with are job guys or very, very undercard. You can even say mid-card. Most of these guys are jobbing or were jobbing every week. So I don't know. And then now, of course, what made it even worse is the Hurt Syndicate actually completely killed this group. Like, any chance that this group had of success was completely killed when a real badass group actually came on the scene, right? We talked about that as well. So, I mean, as far as this angle, it was a disaster. The only reason I didn't give it 2 thumbs down, I said, is because of Darby, who he risked his body again. He took those crazy spots, flying off the, the top of where the audience was, whatever it was, the balcony, or I don't even know what you want to call it, like you said. Jumping into the truck like he did, obviously, is pretty cool looking. And then, of course, taking the swing that, into the
I called it the
metal door.
Thing. The big swing, it's called.
The big swing.
Yeah, well, I got to describe it proper for someone who might be listening on Apple Podcasts without video. But yeah, Claudio did a big swing and slammed Darby into the wall. So yes, he took kind of 2 or 3 pretty decent bumps for this little angle.
Yeah, I mean, there were. I mean, of course, is it worth it? But no, none of anything he does is worth it in AEW. But okay, it's his choice. It's his body. He is obviously a crazy type of guy. He's kind of a loon like that. He's a daredevil. He doesn't care if he breaks every bone in his body. Good for him. But that would be the only reason you could even give anything to this angle, because the rest of the angle has been very poorly written and has made no sense. You listen to Moxley talk, right? And you don't know what the hell he's talking about. You just don't understand anything that's going on here. Like, what does he want? What is happening? You can't make any sense of it, dude. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be not really respectful, but at the same time, I'm just trying to understand it as a wrestling viewer, and I don't get anything that's going on here. I don't understand the point of it all. It's just it's tough.
Well, I can explain it to you. I mean, I think I get it now. It took me a while to get it. This one kind of was confusing at first, but
okay, please.
Unfortunately,
and then see if I can retort any of what you're saying. But please.
Well, look, it's you're not gonna like it. It's not what we all wanted, because I think when this first started, we all had these big aspirations, like the way Moxley would say, "This is bigger than you know," or "There's something big coming." I don't think he did say that, but I think all he meant is what he's saying. All this stuff about it being a shoot, about talking crap about young AEW wrestlers resting on their laurels and not, really taking the opportunity they've been given, and how good the company can be. It's all just realistic. It's a shoot. This is a shoot. This is literally a worked shoot. And the point of it is Moxley is the top guy in this angle, or in this program, and the whole storyline or whatever. And he's the star, and he's trying to elevate the young guys. I'm sorry, Vlad. There's nothing bigger than that. There's really nothing bigger than that. It's all about just getting Orange Cassidy to be like, you know what? All right, I'm not letting this guy take over the company. I'm going to fight back. And then once these guys actually gain some success like this, at the end, Moxley's going to take credit and be like, you see, I pushed these guys. I pushed them to get better. And that's all it is. It's really not. There's no grand storyline. It's not really a takeover anymore, because obviously these 4 guys are not strong enough to take over the company. I think they're just going to be proud of themselves that, hey, we put Private Party in a position to, not Private Party, Top Flight, fucking Daniel Garcia, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, and this is meant to supposedly elevate them against Moxley. So that's all it is, man. So I'm sorry. I agree with that. I think it started off hot. It started off mysterious, and the beginning of this was the best part, when we didn't know what it was. Exactly. And then now that we know what it is what it is. I'm sorry. People used to complain that there weren't angles in AEW. Now there's an angle. This is a program. They did a storyline. It's just not one that people are really liking. So, okay, you can't really say they're not doing stories anymore. They're doing a story.
Well, okay, but sure, and there are plenty. Okay, well, you could do an angle, but can you do one that makes any goddamn sense at all? Like, why are these guys?
It makes sense to the people who really follow AEW and who know the ins and outs of it. Everything Moxley's saying.
What do you mean? I follow AEW and I can't make sense of it. Why would these guys be the guys that are starting to change? These guys are the root of the problem. Guys like Moxley are the problem in AEW.
He's saying that you guys have just get fat paychecks, you're getting paid, and you're resting on your laurels, and you're not really trying hard. That's what he's saying. That's true. There is truth in that. You got to admit that. So,
but isn't he one of the people that is getting fat paychecks and basically been doing stupid shit since he got to AEW? Isn't he? Isn't he?
Yes, but I don't think he would see it that way. But
Yeah, of course, he doesn't see it that way. I mean, look at him. He does, who knows what the fuck he sees?
Well, look, regardless of all that, you did mention to me that in your text that you wanted to generally talk about AEWs. You said, just give me a minute to talk about fucking AEW, right? I mean, there's other programs that are going on at the same time. We're probably not going to talk about a lot of these today, so I might as well just mention something. I mean, there's the MJF sort of Adam Cole thing that turned into him fighting Roddy. There's Jericho and Ishii.
Oh my god!
There's a tag title 4-way that's coming up. There's Hangman Page and Jay White.
No, man.
Julia Hart is coming back. So these are some of the programs that they've been giving us. Mercedes and Statlander also, and then
I know you said that. Didn't you say something crazy like that? Was like your favorite feud of the year or something? Or what did you say?
I mean, I'm liking it. But look, okay. Look, let me just make a point. Let me make a point. Let me ask you a question. So a while ago, you remember we were talking about the future of this podcast, and it was a debate whether we're even going to talk AEW anymore. And then we decided, let's just keep going with it. Fuck it. And let's see if it turns around or whatever happens. So nothing's turning around. All right. Look, we're not going to get cohesive storylines. If you're looking for intelligent, good writing, it's not going to be with AEW. I'm sorry. If you have anyone respectable in the room with you, don't put AEW on because you're going to be embarrassed. They're not going to be impressed by any of it. But the only thing interesting about AEW is to us as wrestling fans. You got to admit, this is just interesting. What's going on? It's a rich kid with $1 billion doing his own show. And how successful or how stupid is it going to be? Or what the hell? And that's basically it. If you're a hardcore wrestling fan, this is interesting in a way. Otherwise, it's not good writing. And if you want, because I'm starting that other TNA show on this channel, I could move it. I could move the AEW stuff to the TNA show, so we could just do This Week in WWE if you want, and I won't have to bother you with AEW. I'll do it on my own.
Well, no, I mean, look, I don't know. Our other guest and buddy Robert, he might want to still talk AEW. I personally, I think that's what I wanted to discuss. Why I'm not enjoying it. I mean, obviously, there's numerous reasons, or why I'm not liking it. I just wanted to kind of make a general statement on the current state of AEW, but really not just the current, but really since its inception. But definitely the current state, because the current state right now is as bad as it's ever been. This is the worst. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen, as far as a wrestling show goes. On a weekly wrestling show with such that has a national deal, basically, that's on the Turner networks on a weekly basis. It's insane. But okay, a couple of issues, that I have, and I think this just talks about what I like about wrestling compared to what other people like about wrestling. Look, I like when I watch AEW, I just, unfortunately, whether it's fair or not fair, it just looks, it's just how should I word it?
It doesn't look high level. It's not high level wrestling.
Yeah, it just looks like some outlaw mud show. Unfortunately, that's just what it looks like. It just looks like that. I'm sorry.
Outlaw mud show. Okay, yeah, I know what you mean. I know. It
looks very low rent, and they're in these they're in these stadiums that are actually sometimes large, but they have very few people, and it just doesn't look good, man. It's dark. It just doesn't. It's not like when I watched wrestling in the '90s, and I watched WCW in those huge arenas, in WWF in those huge arenas in the Attitude Era, or even WWF now, they're in those NBA arenas and they fill those arenas. That's what I kind of think of a professional wrestling show. It's the same reason I don't watch, minor league baseball, or I don't watch college basketball or college football. I don't want to see people that are not the top of their profession, or playing these sports. I mean, I like watching sports, but I don't want to see amateurs do it. And this is what this is. This is amateur wrestling. This is just guys that are not very, very good, putting on a very, very poor show. And then if you add to there's a couple things here though. If you had somebody that actually could book your way out of this and still try to do something with this, then maybe there was something you could do here. Like, even with that whole look of looking low rent to looking, because, and whatever have you, you could still do something with that. But here, like, with Tony Khan's booking, like, it's impossible, dude. Like, none of it makes any sense. There's no rhyme or reason to what happens on any show. It just keeps going, man, the way it's been going. And you can tell just how they're losing hundreds of thousands of viewers every year. They started off like at 1 million people, or 900,000, 800,000. They keep going down, 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 down. They're somewhere between 500 to 600,000 now. Maybe, fine, let's be nice and say 650. Okay, but compared to where they were a couple of years ago, it's going like, it's like you could look at the charts and it just, all the numbers and all the stats just say that the show is getting worse and worse just based on the audience that are viewing it, right? So, I mean, I think, like I said, it could be, maybe even I could overlook the fact that it looks as bad as it does, and the small crowds and just, you know, all that stuff. If it was booked well,
the silent crowds at this point are just sitting on their hands and not really responding to anything, which is worse than booing. You know, I'd rather have people booing me than fucking just not doing anything. Like this John Moxley promo was dead silence.
People were just
lot of these
staring at him. Staring at him like, what the hell is he saying? Because that's what my feeling is when I watch. Like, I don't understand what he's saying, you know? So I don't understand the point of anything that he's doing out there and any of that stuff. So, I mean, I think that was just, we could decide, I mean, you could decide yourself. I mean, look, personally, I'll try to keep watching the show as best as I could. I mean, I usually just try to just get through it as fast as possible at this point because it's just really, really bad, dude. Like, I don't even have the words to describe how bad the show really is. Now, I know someone's going to say, well, what about NXT, Vlad? You know, you don't say that about WWE. NXT is a small show. They're in small arenas and all that stuff. Well, yeah, I said the same thing about NXT. I don't want to watch NXT because NXT has the same problem. But the difference with NXT is there's a couple guys there that could be professional wrestlers and will make it the main roster and have success. There's nothing like that in AEW. And they will be in WWE on their main programming, which means I will watch, right? In NXT I'm talking about. They'll be on Raw, they'll be on Smackdown. There's a couple guys, not the majority, because the majority have the same problem as in AEW. NXT is an indie promotion as well, basically, because they do the same kind of stuff that I don't like. I've already seen enough of NXT to understand that. They do a lot of stuff that I'm just not into. And that will never be on the main roster, for the most part. So I don't have to worry about those guys and those characters and those people, because they're never going to be on the main roster. They'll be cut sooner rather than later. But there's a few guys there that won't be, and they'll make the main roster, and that's the difference. AEW, these guys are not going anywhere. They're not going to do nothing. They're just stuck in AEW.
Well, there's guys who have been successes in WWE in AEW.
Yes, I agree with that. But none of these young guys that are currently there, I see.
Oh, the young guys, I see.
Well, yeah, sure, but the older guys, nobody wants these guys back in WWE. Like, WWE's not. They don't want John Moxley back. They don't care about Chris Jericho. There's only one or two guys that they would want, and that's MJF, and maybe, I don't know. Maybe
Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, they probably could. They would probably get Mercedes Moné. I mean, just to have her back. I would say that, but I mean, there's very few others. I mean, with like what? How many wrestlers are on this roster? Over 200. The last time we looked, they maybe want like a handful. They probably want a handful. They would even consider. In my opinion.
Well, I don't know. I kind of disagree with you. I think the wrestlers aren't the issue. I think, like you said, I think this company, the fact that it's on national TV, it could turn on a drop of a dime and be successful. People are ready to watch this shit if it's good. And you're right. It's the booker. And with this has been said to death because it's Tony Khan's show and he's the booker. He's the man.
Well, but the thing is, you can't say that it just can turn on time because everything that's pointing is that it's going. Like, it's just going down. Like, the crowds are smaller than they've ever been. Live attendance is down. People purchasing their pay-per-views is down for the most part. And obviously, people watching the show is down. So across the board, every statistic that you can look at shows that there's nothing that's changing. People are agreeing with what I'm saying. The show's getting worse. I mean, right? I don't see how you could say that it's going to change on just like that and it's going to be good.
No, I didn't say it's going to. It could, but like theoretically.
Well, yes.
Like
yes. Many things could happen.
If you gave Jim Cornette the book right now, I think in a year it would be a decent show. But on top of that,
Maybe.
I think it was slightly more coherent at the start. I think people have noticed a change in the quality of the show. Not that it was great at first. There was problems still logically and everything, but there was some coherent things like, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. That was a thing that actually, they went through with. MJF and CM Punk had a very coherent storyline that actually made sense. So there were some things. MJF also as a
Cody,
heel,
right?
Cody, yes, and then now they have like almost none of that. So
none of it. No.
So there, it could be better, first of all, but it could have been even better than how it started. If it was just a different booker. But that's like everyone knows that's not going to happen. So we're just going to have to live with what it is, and we just have to accept it. If you want to watch it, you could.
And I have, but I just want right, exactly. And I have accepted it that it's going to be what it's going to be. But I just wanted to the point I wanted to make is why I'm not enjoying it and what I actually like about wrestling. I like professional shows in big arenas that look legit. I don't like if I wanted to watch minor league wrestling, I look for where the hell I'd watch Ohio Valley Wrestling, or I'd watch TNA, or I'd watch anything other than these guys, honestly. So I mean, I'm torn because I understand that AEW is the second biggest company in wrestling, and they have a national deal, and we have been covering them now pretty much since its inception. But yeah, I don't want to watch the show. I have to be honest. Like, it's very difficult for me right now. I'm at the point where I don't mind if you want to discuss it with Robert, and I could just listen in, and maybe you could fill me in on what's going on, and I can see if I'm going to be interested in even discussing it. But because it's really bad, dude. Like, I have to be honest. Like, I could spend my time doing something else than watching this show.
No, I feel you. I feel weird. I mean, look, I'm a wrestling fan in a different way. Like, I'm interested even in like the fucking, what people consider shitty matches on Rampage and Collision. I consider every chance you get on TV to be a chance to impress. And hey,
that's true in a sense. Yes.
We're shoving you on national TV. This is your chance. Do something. Yes. Cut a promo. Make yourself notice. So I will always watch it and judge and be like, all right, you know what? He didn't do so good there. He had a chance and he kind of blew it. Or, he did all right there. Maybe he should get another chance. So I'm not so mad at the show not doing good. You know what I mean? And I think there's WWE.
But why not? You don't feel it's a waste of time? I mean, you're putting all this time to editing these shows and trying to get something out of this product. I mean, wouldn't you rather be entertained than just be like staring at it with your mouth wide open, just thinking, like, what the hell are you doing with your life? Why am I watching this?
As a historian, I am entertained. I think there are things that...
Oh, because you like to see how far the ship is going to sink. It's like...
Not just the ship is going to sink, but people do get chances to impress, and I think some of these people will actually get picked up by Triple H. Triple H is watching, obviously. He's very in tune. He's very in tune with the indies, and,
I agree.
TNA and WWE and AEW and the indies and such. So if there's anything there, he'll swoop it up. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. If there's anything there, I don't see it. I personally, I don't know. I watched AEW for, like I said, since its inception pretty much, and I can't, like I said, there's 200 guys on this roster. If we can name 10 guys that I would want to see in WWE, I would be shocked. I mean, we could go through. Maybe we could do this at another time. It's not worth it now, but we go through the roster and just see if there's 10 guys, legit guys that I would consider. That could make it in WWE as and maybe even become stars. I don't know, or at least make it. So I don't know. I mean, we could do that another time. I can't think of 10 right now for sure. But
I mean, when I used to see Ethan Page on AEW, I thought that he was a very charismatic guy who delivered his lines in a very unique way, and it didn't surprise me that WWE picked him up. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. They're smart. They saw what I saw. He wasn't a fucking complete waste of time. He's got potential. So that's like a type of guy. I mean, Ricky Starks is waiting out his contract. That's another one.
There's a time where like at least 10 guys were waiting out their contracts in this company. But yes.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the grand story, wrestling, WWE, these companies, WCW. There's usually one or two top angles that carry the company for whatever, and they just don't have that right now, unfortunately. So.
No.
So it's a dark time. It's a bit of a dark time for AEW. There's nothing really hot going on, but you know it could always happen. So I guess I'll keep an eye on it. If you want to stop watching, dude, you're a free man. You don't have to.
Right, I understand. I'll definitely.
I got it. I mean, we'll think about it too. We'll have a summit when Robert comes back, the frozen Asian who's conspicuous by his absence today. But hey, it's understandable. He couldn't make the show today. I think he fell behind on the wrestling, and it's a lot of wrestling to watch. The poor guy actually watches the whole show. Can you believe that? Like, even the people who review shows, like I listen to Conan and Disco and Cornette, and they're like saying, yeah, that match I fucking forwarded. Then I got to the promo, you know. So they're not watching the whole. Poor Robert is sitting through the whole fucking thing.
I mean, I give him props for doing it, but it feels like it's he's doing some sort of torture to himself. I don't understand why he's doing that. I mean, nobody's asking him to. I mean, I know he feels like maybe he's obligated to give respect to the wrestlers. I don't know what his thinking is when he does that. Maybe he could explain it himself.
No, he's told us. He says he wants to get a full feel for how the show really was if he's gonna, give an opinion on the show.
Okay, well, it's his point of view. I don't think you need to watch some random match 10, 15 minutes worth to see how the show's going. You can see how the show's going without that, but that's just my opinion. He's free to watch it however he wants to watch it, and so are you, Keon.
All right, well, I don't do that. I don't watch the whole freaking show. A lot of matches I skip through. Matches aren't really my thing. I like a good match every now and again, but I'm trying to see, the booking and. I'll take a look at their work a little bit as long as it's not egregiously bad,
Yes, I think I agree with that.
But anyways, okay, we got to move on, man. We're 30 minutes into the show. All we've talked about is how AEW sucks, which is on your background for the audio podcast people. Vlad's green screen background says AEW sucks.
So they can see it. I can see it a little better. I'll move out the way for a little bit.
It's unfortunate, man. I mean, look, I'm not asking you to fake it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But
I have to call it like it is, man. I mean,
yes, you could. But, there's a lot of wrestling fans out there that, say they do like AEW. They don't want to hear someone fucking railing on AEW. So once they go to our podcast and they're like, they see, we're reviewing Jon Moxley's segment from Dynamite. They click on it, and it's just us shitting on AEW for half an hour. Obviously, they're not going to want to listen to our show. So, but yeah, what can you do?
What can I do? What can I do? Exactly. I mean, I praise it if there's good stuff. I would praise it, right? I have praised AEW in the past when there's been good stuff there. When MJF was, started his run as champion initially, and when he was a heel, and the stuff with CM Punk initially. Jericho when he first started, was pretty good. Cody had some good moments, So I've praised stuff that I've enjoyed, but it's just so far and few in between that it's like, I don't know. But let's leave it at that. I don't want to take up more time on AEW. Let's move on.
All right. Well, I promise we'll do a little more AEW later. Not much. We'll come back to it. But for right now, we got to jump to WWE because it was a hot week in WWE, to be honest. I mean, we should have really started in WWE, but that angle, the Moxley taking over the Superstation angle was just. Yeah. I don't know. That really drew a lot of attention, so we had to at least comment on that first, I think. But all right, let me jump over. Let's see what I got. I got WWE Raw. So this is November 11th, Monday. So almost a week ago now. We're recording this on a Sunday. It'll probably be out on Monday morning. So I'm hoping people will watch this before they watch the next episode of Raw tomorrow on the 18th. But all right, so big Bronson Reed. So the segment, the angle here is that he's continuing his mission to take out Seth Rollins, basically. Like what happened last week? So last week he had lost at Crown Jewel to Seth, and then he ruined Seth's number one contenders match. It was a 4-way, and he came in and fucking just caused havoc again. So he came in and cut a promo, which I liked his promo. It started off slow, but in the end, I think the point he made was that he said Seth got the better of him as a competitor at Crown Jewel, but Reed is not. He said, I am not a competitor. I am a monster, right? And he's put a bunch of people down last week, and he'll put anyone down who gets in his way of him taking care of Seth for good. So that's his goal. His goal is to just fucking get rid of Seth Rollins, which seems a little weird because it's like, dude, this is a wrestling show. Like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be here wrestling. What is your point here? Just trying to take people out and kill them and put them in the hospital or something? What the fuck is this? This is not professional. But anyways, so here's some facial expressions of Bronson Reed while he's talking, which I'm a big fan of. Honestly, he's been a really great classic wrestler. But Seth Rollins did come out to respond. His music hit, and he runs into the ring. So it got back to being just fiery right away, and they go right at it yet again. And then there's a big pull apart, and the security comes out, and that's pretty much it for this segment here. There's Adam Pearce trying to tell Seth to get to the back, and here's Bronson Reed with the crazy faces, which I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed's crazy faces. So, all right, so Reed and Seth Rollins is going to continue. And I think there's a scene also in the back where Seth Rollins is saying he wants Bronson Reed one more time, and Adam Pearce is like, fine, if you fucking want it one more time, this is the last time, though, next week. So they set it up for next Monday's Raw. All right, so this angle on this night, let's see what you guys rated it. I have ratings from Robert also on this one, so Robert's not here, but me and Robert gave this 2 thumbs up for Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins continuing their thing, and you gave it a thumbs up. So, all right, well, I'm going to put a stop clock for this one since we talked forever on last one. I'm going to put 90 seconds up here. I don't know if you can see that.
I see it.
All right. Well, Vlad, thumbs up from you on. We all know what happened later in the week with Bronson Reed and stuff, but I want you to hold off on that and just whatever you remembered about Seth Rollins, and you could be brief if you want, because I know we got to move on to the next topic. But Seth and Bronson Reed gonna fight yet again, and I guess it continued just because Bronson Reed wants it to, right? There's really no reason why. He lost the match, but he still wants it to continue, so it is going to continue. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this feud. Really enjoyed Bronson Reed. He's just been tremendous. Ever since he first attacked Seth Rollins all those months ago, he's been a great addition to the main angles, or some of the main angles, or some of the main...
he's a top guy, bro. He's a fucking top guy now.
I agree. I definitely I see it. I think he cut a pretty decent promo. I mean, he's not the best promo guy in the world, but he cut a pretty decent one, and his matches are all pretty legit looking, honestly. Like, he's a big dude. He fights, but he moves quite well, and his work, is pretty solid from what I've seen. Like, I don't think he does anything that's embarrassing at all. And like I said, he moves well. He can hit that tsunami, off the top. So overall, I mean, I've enjoyed it mostly because of Bronson Reed. Now, I know Seth Rollins is a tremendous worker and has a long history of being a great wrestler. But, my feelings on Seth, and I've made that clear before. His character has never been one of my favorites. But when he's serious, he's not bad, So this whole thing has been pretty solid top to bottom. So I'll leave it at that. Good angle, and I've enjoyed it.
All right. I really liked it. I was into the Bronson Reed facial expressions, so that's why I gave it 2 thumbs up on mine. But I'm gonna move on to something on this Raw. So I'm gonna stick with this Raw, November 11th. So I'm gonna jump to another angle that happened on this night involving the Bloodline. There they are. Here's an image for you YouTube people out there of the Usos. Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy. And so they're looking for a 5th partner for WarGames. So they announced this kind of on this night, I think. This was the first time I learned of it, that they just figured out, okay, we got to have a 5th guy because it's going to be 5-on-5.
But why does it need to be 5-on-5 as the part that this makes it? There's 4 of them, and there's 4 of them. It could be 4-on-4 WarGames. I don't really see a reason for
WarGames. There has been 4-on-4 WarGames, but
I don't really understand the need for a 5th guy for either team. But okay, if that's the direction they want to go, that's their choice. I personally don't see a need. I mean, you have the Bloodline versus Bloodline, and there's 4 of each. That's it. It's already made. Like, why do you even need to add anybody? But okay, they must have a reason for it. But I just don't see it. I don't see the need. But maybe they do.
Well, regardless, let me go through what happened real quick.
Yeah.
I know if you guys haven't seen this, I assume whoever's watching our show has seen this. But if not, you can check out the links in the description below, and in our review there's videos of this if you really need to see it. But yes, here's so Sammy basically said, I have an idea. I know someone I think I can ask. And he didn't even say who it was, and he just kind of left the scene, and the Usos are staring there like, all right, let's see what he comes up with. So back to the last angle we were talking about. So I'm jumping to when Seth Rollins was talking to Adam Pearce about trying to get a match with Bronson Reed. So he did get that match, and when Adam Pearce walked off, Sami Zayn walks in right at that moment, and to talk to Seth Rollins about joining the Bloodline, or the OG Bloodline, I guess, in WarGames, which right after Seth Rollins got into a big fight with Bronson Reed. So it was kind of weird timing. Even the commentators mentioned this, but Seth Rollins was kind of receptive to listening, so he listened. Sammy gave his spiel. He's like, hey, isn't there some part of you that's still kind of got a soft spot for Roman? And Seth Rollins was like, hell nah. No way, right? And I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, but basically it was like, hell no.
It was basically that, yes.
Sammy was like dejected, and then okay, later in the night, so they're still looking for another partner, and Jimmy said, I got an idea. So Braun Breaker is getting interviewed here, and he had a thing with Sheamus, which we listed as a separate angle that we reviewed on our Raw review. If you guys want to see that, it's on the description below. I'll post a link to our Raw post from earlier this week. We reviewed all the angles already. But as for this angle, after Braun Breaker was done talking to Sheamus, Jimmy Uso comes up and he talks to Braun Breaker. He's like, hey, I got something to talk to you about. You got a minute? And Braun Breaker's like, sure, I got a minute. I'll listen. So that's all that happened there. And then later in the night, I think one of the interviewers was trying to get an interview with Seth Rollins, and then Seth bumps into Solo and Jacob Fatu out in the parking lot. And Solo and Jacob Fatu give their pitch to Seth Rollins to join their side. And once again, he was like, hell no. And here's Solo holding back Jacob, saying, don't do nothing. So that's that. Okay, so that's all we got on Raw. There were more events on SmackDown, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I'll get your Raw review, since we got reviews from you and Robert, the Frozen Asian, who's not here. But I'll give his review anyways today. So for this Raw angle involving the Bloodline, looking for fifth members, both sides, I gave it 2 thumbs up. So I was a big fan of this. I loved it. And then you and Robert are just a thumbs up. So you guys like this. So although you had your criticism, which I heard you talk about as we started this angle, talking about it, about how you didn't really think there was a need for a fifth guy. But other than that, if there's anything you want to talk about how you felt on this night, or if you want, I'll just move on to SmackDown. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything to say here. No, we can just move on to SmackDown, because I think that really furthers. But yeah, this was good. I'll just leave it at that. It was good. But I think talking about what happened next on SmackDown is
it's hard to talk about this now that we actually know what happened, because I think in the days between Raw and SmackDown, we were like kind of just like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like, who's gonna be the fifth guy?
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't seem like it was gonna be Seth at this point. But after we see what happens on SmackDown, we might get a different view. So all right, let's just do it. Let's jump to SmackDown. So this is This is SmackDown from the 15th, Friday. So a couple days ago now. We're recording this on a Sunday night. If anyone didn't see any of this, it was pretty wild shit. I posted a video in the description below. If you guys really need to watch what happened before we review it, you can press pause on our video and go to that and watch it, and then come back to this and then listen to our review. But anyway, so here's the Usos again. Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay, the 3 brothers. And they're still looking for a fifth guy. So again, Sammy goes, "Oh, I got an idea. I got someone in mind." So he goes to LA Knight. What the fuck? Why would he go to LA Knight after everything LA Knight's been through with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline? That made no sense. Seth,
Well, why would he go with Seth? You could understand, even though
well,
he
Seth. I mean, Seth and Roman used to be a team, even though they
the Shield.
They had a falling out, but at least they were a team at one point.
Right.
These guys, LA Knight never fucking liked Roman Reigns, so that one didn't make any sense to me. But LA Knight did say in his promo that, you know, that's not my fight. So Sammy goes back to the Usos, and they go into Roman Reigns' locker room, and they hang out with him. And I think they mentioned that Roman was supposed to call somebody or make a phone call, and they just kind of mentioned that at the moment. They didn't really say who they were talking about. And then Solo Sikoa's music hit, and the old Bloodline can see that the new Bloodline are coming out to the ring, and they're like, well, fuck it, let's go fuck those guys. So immediately they get up and head to the arena inside, and Solo's he starts talking, but he doesn't talk for that long, and that's when Roman's music hit, and here comes the OG Bloodline ready to have a war with the new Bloodline, which they got a pretty cool t-shirt, the OG Bloodline. I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah,
honestly.
agreed.
And then seeing the four of them together is also pretty damn cool.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a trip. So here's the new Bloodline waiting for them in the ring, and they just go to war. Basically, that this is like WarGames without a steel cage, and they start brawling. Here's some pictures. I'm glossing over a lot of it, but the surprise. What was the big surprise? So there was a spot where Roman did save Sammy from a Samoan spike from Solo. So he saved Sammy, which was kind of a nice moment. That was like kind of weird. But the surprise came when, here's a Sammy top rope dive. So this was a wild scene. It was just everything happening everywhere. And Jacob Fatu's in the ring facing off with Roman. And then from behind, out of freaking nowhere, big Bronson Reed, who we were just talking about, from Smackdown, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck, Bronson Reed? You gotta be kidding me, bro. Is this guy like in the Bloodline? Is he related? I was like, first of all, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But okay, he looks Samoan. He looks the part.
He does look the part. If they said he was Samoan initially, it would have been perfect. But no, he's obviously not Samoan. He's not. I don't think he's an official member of any Bloodline.
I think he might be Samoan. I heard someone say today that he's Samoan, but we could look that up later. But anyways,
yeah, let's look that up. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, the Bloodline should get him into the family somehow. Like Solo should hook him up with like a sister or something, so he could be in the Bloodline. But
that's true.
All right, let me go over the rest of this real quick before we get some thoughts from Vlad on all this madness that happened. But I'm skipping over a lot of it, but basically Roman did make a comeback, and he Superman punched Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, and even gave one to Bronson Reed, who did a hell of a job selling it. I loved how he sold it. Like, he just exaggerates his body movements so much that I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed's work. But this turned into a Bloodline beatdown. I'm just going to make a long story short and skip to the tsunami splash onto Roman Reigns from Bronson Reed. So, goddamn, fucking the Bloodline coming up with Bronson Reed. That is some catch right there, man. They got a big star. So 5-on-4 with Bronson Reed. They whoop the Bloodline's ass, and they're gloating, and then I think Jey Uso's in the ring, and he tells Roman, hey, you got to make that phone call, man. Make that phone call. Like, who? I thought he meant you got to call Seth and apologize, because we need, like, that type of firepower. But later in the night, after the WWE Women's Championship match, they cut back to Roman's locker room for, like, one quick segment at the end, and he's all hurt, and he grabs his phone, and he makes a phone call, and he says, call the wise man, call Paul Heyman. And then it says that the Lion is no longer in service. So Paul Heyman's phone number is gone, and Roman just drops the phone, and he's all dejected. And that was his last idea. He doesn't know what else to do now. So, all right, reviews. So where am I on this? So Robert didn't submit a review. Maybe he didn't have time to watch SmackDown. I don't know. So I got mine and yours. So you gave this 2 thumbs up. So you love this. I'm at a
Yep.
fire, man. This was fucking fire, dude. The introduction of Bronson Reed and the excitement and all the fucking chaos and melee and just Roman getting splashed by fucking Bronson Reed. I don't want to say it blew my mind because, I don't know, part of me expected with Seth involved and maybe Bronson Reed would get involved, but I thought it was fire. So I gave it plus 5 points on my SmackDown review, which gave my SmackDown review a pretty good score. But, all right, I'm going to jump to you. Whatever thoughts you have about the Bloodline for this segment or for the whole week, I guess. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? This was a chaotic masterpiece. It was a great segment, from the beginning to the end, and even that thing at the end with Roman calling Paul Heyman, and for some reason the line being, I guess he changed his number, which is kind of weird, but okay. But it was kind of a nice touch because it just left so much uncertainty for the original Bloodline. The whole thing was masterfully done, and adding Bronson Reed. Why questionable in the sense of why they need a fifth person, still was a great reveal because as we both said, we're big fans of Bronson Reed. Just the work that he's, just the work that he's done basically since he's been elevated in his spot has been tremendous, right? So we're happy that he's involved in this because it adds another badass to this really top angle. I think at that point, Seth is going to get involved because he just wants to get a Bronson Reed, so he will be most likely he'll be their fifth member. Let's just be honest at this point. Not so much because of he wants to team up with Roman, but I think he's going to say something to the fact that he just wants to get a Bronson Reed. So if Bronson Reed is in this match, now I'm going to be in this match type of deal. So yeah, but anyways, this has been it's been wonderful. I mean, it's amazing to say that the Bloodline angle has really been carrying WWE, and it's been what 4 or 5 years since they first introduced the Bloodline, but it's still going kind of hot. Pretty amazing. I have to give them credit.
Well, a couple things. So first of all, okay, I get Bronson Reed wanting to be involved in this because he just wants to be a top guy, and this is just a name program. So who wouldn't want to be in WarGames? So I get that. But it is a little weird that he's involved with Seth and he's kind of jumping over to this too. You know what I mean? But irregardless, the other thing about Paul Heyman changing his number, it's probably because he got fucking demolished and beat up so bad by these criminal Bloodline members.
He's hiding. He's in hiding.
He's I just don't want to see these guys ever again. Better I stay away from this whole thing. So I keep my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see him saying something like that when they do eventually bring him back. He'll say something like that. I bet.
All right. Well, all right. So we're done with the Bloodline business. Let's move on to a couple more things. I'm gonna try to speed up the pace because we're already 53 minutes in, but. Couple more things I'd want to just gloss over and talk about. Let's see what I got. I'll stick with SmackDown. So this is from Friday the 15th as well. So Cody Rhodes. Let's talk about the angle that he's doing with Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens pile drove. Sorry, he pile drove. I was trying to say pile drove, but I for some reason I said pile drove. Whatever. He pile drived Randy Orton last week and sent him to the hospital. So this week, Kevin Owens is not allowed on the show. So Nick Aldis comes out because Cody wants to call out KO, but KO is not there because Nick Aldis says, hey, management says he can't be here until they've, settle this thing. And they said he broke the unwritten rule, right? You can't pile drive someone. There's a reason that move is banned, but whatever. I'm not a big fan of that part of this angle, but okay, I'll roll with it. And Cody basically said, look, let me handle this. What do you want me to do? Go to his house and find him? Just, let me handle it, And he's like, I'll wait for your answer, but I'm not going to wait long because I'm Cody Rhodes, damn it. So, and then what happened later in the night? I think later in the night, why don't I...
I think you sent a video, right?
Yeah. There it is. I didn't save a image, so I landed on a funny image right there. But anyways, so they didn't let him in the building, but he posted something on social media, and they just played that. So that seemed a little weird to me logically, like why you don't let him in the building, but you're gonna let him talk and
play his videos,
post it. Yeah. So I don't know if you're gonna have him off the show, have him off the show. Is he punished or not? But anyways, let's see what we have for ratings for this one. Cody Rhodes is back on the show. I think he missed the week before that, if I'm not mistaken. But you gave this a thumbs up, and I gave it a half thumbs up. So I don't know. I kind of liked it, but I wasn't too hot for it. You gave it a regular thumbs up, so you liked it. So I'll give you some time to give some comments on this, whatever you want to say.
Well, I know in the past, I mean, look, I don't follow Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen's career, but I do remember something of like him having like in Ring of Honor, like in his character where he was like not allowed in the building and he was this and he was that. Maybe you might know, or maybe Robert might know. I don't know better than I do, but I know that's like something that he's done in the past where he's kind of been like an outlaw and he's done this stuff and he's going against some guys and and that's how he got really over from what I remember. And that's how actually what attracted WWE to him and actually signed him from what I recall. I mean, I might be missing some of the details that went along with that, but anyways, this is, I think where Kevin Owens works best, where he's kind of an outsider trying to get in type of deal. Compared to like anything he's been doing recently or the last couple of years, that's probably where he works best. He works better as a heel because he is, I think, in my opinion, kind of a heel in real life. That kind of makes sense. And I've enjoyed it for the most part. I've enjoyed the feud. I mean, with him and Randy, and then Cody being involved and all that stuff that goes into it. Cody explaining why he really wants to get at Kevin Owens after what he did to Randy and how Randy's one of his mentors. It all makes sense. It's all logical, and it's all been pretty good actually. So curious to see what happens next. Now, yes, there's some not like logical stuff that you mentioned. There's some questions to be asked, like why are they playing these videos, right? If he's not allowed in the building, why does he keep getting barred? Like, why was he barred previously? Like, I don't know. There's some stuff here doesn't completely make sense, but as a whole, like, I don't want to really just overanalyze something when it's still pretty good, But yes, there are questions, of course.
Yeah. And I think this could be good. This just wasn't, to me, it wasn't a hot angle on this day. He just sent in a video on Twitter or whatever. So, okay, I'm at wait and see mode, but I just I wanted to mention it because we're a little short on angles today, and he is the world Universal WWE / Universal Champion, undisputed, whatever. So, okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to Raw. Here's another thing I wanted to mention. The other champion, we haven't mentioned Gunther in a little while, so I'll just want an opinion from you on Gunther's new little persona here. Looks like, well, I was down on the fact that he lost to Cody at Crown Jewel, because I was like, why would you do that to this guy? He's supposed to be, but they did use it as part of this program with Damian Priest. So he's back fighting Damian Priest again, the whole street trash thing that they went through and everything. So this is a rematch, and I think basically Damian just called him out, saying that, you know what, you can't be as confident, you don't look as confident. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he was calling him out on. And Gunther seemed like to be making these facial expressions like it's just not the same confident Gunther, right? And on this day, Ludwig Kaiser came out to defend his master or whatever it is. I don't
I don't know if that's the right term. His master. I don't know what you would call it.
Isn't he his slave servant? I don't fucking know. Anyways, he comes out and
you're saying they have a slave master relationship.
what the fuck else is it? But
maybe he's his boss. You could have said that at the very least.
Well, anyways, Gunther didn't want him.
But that's hilarious. Okay, good. The slave Kaiser.
Gunther didn't want his slave defending him here, so he was like, "Hey, shut up, man." But Kaiser was insistent. He was insistent. He was like, "You know what? I'm not gonna let this street trash talk to you like that, right?" But anyways, later in the night, I'm skipping all the way till the end when Damian Priest defeats Kaiser. He gives him that South of Heaven choke slam and beats him. And then Gunther comes out to face his next opponent, and maybe in a time before when he was more confident, quote unquote, he would have ran to the ring and maybe attacked him. But instead he just turned away and left, and leaving Damian Priest to kind of gloat for the night. So, all right, I'm going to switch the clock to 1 minute, only a minute because we're trying to round out the show. But, all right, so what is your thoughts on the new Gunther persona, the new... not so confident Gunther, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably gave this a decent grade. I don't know. I probably gave it a thumbs up.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me see. You're right. My bad. Before we go to your comments, all three of us thumbs up. Me, you, and Robert. So yeah, we all liked it. I think it's interesting, but
I just don't understand why he so lost. He lost to Cody on a fluke finish, basically. You could call it that. Where he rolled them up after the choke, right? Type of deal. I don't think you should really lose your confidence in the fact that you're still one of the best wrestlers in the world over that. So I'm not completely getting where that loss of confidence is coming from completely. I know, even if you could say he's down on the loss to Cody, they've already made it clear that it was kind of a fluke loss. You know, I mean, they didn't make it clear, but just the way they did it, made that clear, just the way the pinfall was and everything like that. So I don't know. I'm not really understanding it completely, but it's not been bad. It's still been there's been some entertainment value. I will say, for me, Priest is better on the mic than he was when they first went around, like their first time they were feuding. I think around what was it SummerSlam or the Royal Rumble? I can't remember now. But whenever they had that match, and Damian
it was
lost
definitely
the title.
Around SummerSlam, not the Royal Rumble. But
yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't remember the exact shows, but
yeah, it was probably
more around
SummerSlam. Yeah, you're right. My bad. What was I thinking? Yes, it was around SummerSlam. I don't know why I even mentioned the Royal Rumble, but anyways, yeah, I think Damian's kind of improved in that, and maybe that's why I really gave it a thumbs up, because his work was pretty solid, I felt, and his mic stuff was pretty good. But yeah, I don't really understand Gunther losing his confidence. There's been some Gunther stuff that I haven't always understood, but anyways, yes, this is okay. This isn't bad.
I mean, I kind of like it. I'm saying, because
I was down on, why has he lost his confidence? If you like it, why has he lost?
I just like that. I'm not saying that I like that he lost his confidence. I'm saying that I like that there became some consequence from that match. It seemed like a worthless match that was just like burying Gunther. But okay, so now that it's like an interesting angle that's arose from it, I don't mind that as much. So, all right, I'm gonna move along. Let's go back to AEW Dynamite just for one angle, all right? Because I know we spent half an hour fucking railing on AEW this morning, but I do want to show one clip. So this was our continuation of our analysis from last week when we did the Mercedes getting run over, Chris Statlander got run over by Mercedes and Camille. So that was an epic legendary segment. So we got another one this week. So this is another little 2-minute segment. So this one is Renee Paquette just interviewing Mercedes backstage, and she's with Camille. And Camille's got you can't really see it, but she's got a sling on her arm. Because I guess she got her arm injured by Statlander last week when Statlander smashed it in between the car door. So, so basically, Mercedes is getting interviewed, and she doesn't realize that Statlander is like right behind her, which is pretty funny. But let's do a watch along. How about a little watch along? It's only 1 minute. They're gonna do a little brawl here for anyone just listening on audio. It might not make sense, but I'm just going to play it, and then afterwards I'll try to describe what happened. So watch-along mode, I got to put it a little tiny here in the corner, so you guys got to zoom in if you really want to watch along. So you can zoom into that little spot in the corner, and you can see it pretty clearly. So here we go.
A little preview of what's to come at Full here. Now, Renee, I have to get ready for the show. So move on. Oh, Camille! Camille!
Oh, here we go. There we go. There's some fighting. Good God. That's it. All right. So they went through the wall for anyone listening. On podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, they went through the wall and then that's it. They just cut away. They didn't show anything after that. But all right. So I got to describe some of it. So Statlander comes up and Mercedes calls Camille to help her. And Camille just gets slammed into the wall. Then Statlander goes up to Mercedes. They have a little scuffle. And then Camille helps Mercedes down. And that's when Statlander spears everybody through a drywall, like a fake wall that they made. So a lot of people make fun of those walls that just are so fake because there's no wall like that in real life that you could just fucking fly through. You know, usually, I don't really know the science of how walls are built, but usually they're built kind of strong because they don't want it to like fucking just fall down while you're just, you know. So anyways, all right, I got some ratings for this angle.
Usually people are not running through walls, Kalen. That's exactly true.
Unless you're the goddamn Incredible Hulk or something. But...
Exactly.
So I like this. I thought it was entertaining. Okay, I'm not really analyzing it in terms of is it good or not. I'm analyzing it in terms of whether I liked it. So I was entertained. You gave it a half thumbs up. You were kind enough to give this a 0.5 rating on the Malapert Smart rating system. So on your Dynamite review, this gave your Dynamite review a half point of credit. So, all right. Would you like to say anything about this? I personally, last week I thought that was an embarrassing segment. I know you found some humor in it. You thought it was funny. I thought it was one of the worst things I've seen in a while. But it's hard to say like the worst thing you've seen in a while in AEW because every segment has potential to be the worst segment you've seen in a while. But this was okay. Like, I just think it makes Camille, who has been made to look like absolute shit, really bad. Like it makes her look really crappy, and maybe one of the worst quote unquote bodyguards in the history of wrestling bodyguards. Like she's always getting her ass kicked here. She's made to look. Well, terrible. She's injured. At this point, she's injured. So yeah, she's
injured. Bad. She's injured, but why is she injured? They were supposed to attack her last week, and they were left laying, and I guess her arm was broken as well to make matters worse, or whatever they're saying now is happened with it. I mean, this was okay. It was mildly entertaining. Obviously, as you said, the wall thing is kind of fake looking, but what makes it even worse is that they just left and stopped talking about it after. Like, they didn't talk about like what happened to these three women after that. They just said, "Well, they have a match at Full Gear. Wait to see what happens after."
Yeah, that was a terrible transition. You're right.
They didn't go back and say, "Hey, somebody had to go to the hospital. Like they had to be pulled apart." Like when WWE does this, like they always go back to this type of stuff. Like and say, like this happened here, and somebody had to be taken to medical facilities or whatever have you. Here they just...
Or show a replay. If it was so amazing and crazy, fucking show a replay. You know what I mean? I like when WWE do that, you know?
Absolutely. But it was still... I hated what they were going for, but yeah, they didn't do it enough justice to warrant anything more than half a thumbs up.
All right. Let me jump to that's enough for AEW for the day. Okay, we've done enough. We covered the Moxley invasion and the invasion of TBS and then Chris Statlander, and that's enough. Okay, if you want the rest of our Dynamite review, it's in the description below. There's a link to we reviewed every angle, thumbs up, thumbs down. So quick reviews. If you're interested to know what we thought of every single little angle. We have that already, so we're not going to do that on the show today. We don't have enough time. It's late at night here. But I do want to jump to NXT and just mention one little thing from NXT, if you don't mind. I know Robert's not here. Robert's usually my guy.
The NXT guy.
Yeah. The guy who watches NXT with me, because I know you don't want to watch it, but shit. I mean, look, if there's one thing I will praise as a main roster thing, it's Lexis King. It's Brian Pillman Jr. Yes, I think he's been freaking tremendous lately. He's been actually doing these really high level, high difficulty angles. He had a Heritage Cup match last week where he had to fake an injury and do the whole match with a fake, like Bret Hart type of injury. So he did that really well. And that was with William Regal in his corner. So then today he's back to being on his own. And this is called the Iron Survivor Qualifier. So this is a qualifier match for an Iron Survivor match, which is hard to explain. It's got these crazy rules. But regardless, he's in a single match with Javon Evans on this day.
Yes,
and
I actually do know.
Yes, and I want to show you, Vlad. I'll watch along a little bit of this of when Javon Evans gets hurt. So he gets hurt right here, and then watch Lexis King's reaction.
King's flying in, and trying to go up. Then over, and King now into the
cover him, King, cover him.
No, you see, he's too good a guy. He doesn't know what to do.
With the devil on our shoulder.
Javon is a little hurt, but he's like, I'm gonna make sure he's okay. Wait for the doctors to come in, and he doesn't take advantage of the situation. And in the end, he ends up freaking losing. And here's his dejected look face when he loses, and it's just he really is trying to do well here, but he's been on a bad run. So he lost that match, and Javon Evans kind of helps him up and gives him some encouragement. But that's a very interesting story. I think the story is obviously he's trying to not be like his father. So Brian Pillman Sr. was...
even I've gotten that, yes.
Yeah, so his father was a crazy asshole loose cannon, and he's trying to be like the complete opposite, where he's a nice guy. So I'm going to give that a praise. So me and Robert both gave this angle a thumbs up on this day. But we reviewed all the men's Iron Survivor qualifiers together as one angle. But I really focused in on the Lexis King stuff as the reason why I gave it a good rating. So big praise to Lexis King. I'm not going to get any comments from you unless you want to give comments. But
I can't really say. I mean, I've got a little bit of that. He doesn't want to be like his daddy keeps saying, but I'm a little confused because wasn't he at one point wasn't he a heel when he first came in to NXT? Or am I don't know. I mean, I didn't follow NXT like that, but
no, you know what? I wasn't really following it either, but I think he was a heel in terms of like he was just an arrogant guy, not really an asshole or type of guy who would like do bad things in a match or things like that
Well, Jesus, here he just kind of looks dumb. I mean, the guy, he didn't do anything. The guy got hurt. Just take the win, and I mean, you kind of and move on with your day. I mean, just don't sit there looking at him like, oh, should I take the pin? I think this actually makes him look like an idiot, to be honest with you, more than anything. So I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about the.
He's torn, man. Well, look, I think eventually the angle is gonna be, or the program is gonna lead to him actually going there, and someone's gonna tell him like, dude, you have to go there. It's in your blood. Like you if you want to be successful, you got to channel the Brian Pillman in you. You know what I mean? And I think that's gonna be a good moment. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say about that. And basically, I think I'm done. I got honorable mentions. So
let's do it. Let's do some honorable
Let's do a quick honorable mentions for the night, and we'll head home. So the Miz on Raw. So this is from November 11th, Raw. Sorry, my monitor went out, so now I'm looking at the TV. But I'm just gonna do the last part of the show like this. But my freaking computer monitor went out. I don't know why. But anyways, The Miz. So I actually really like this segment on Raw. So The Miz was captured by the Wyatts the week before, and Final Testament, Karrion Kross were asking him like, "Hey, how the hell did you get away?" He's like, "Well, I promised that I would become a good guy again, and they let me go. You know what I mean?" And they're like, "We don't believe you." So they dragged him to the ring, Final Testament, and he got cut like somehow, for real. Which was weird.
Yeah, I saw that.
Somehow,
I did see how.
They kind of roughed him up on the way to the ring. But anyways, so Wyatt 6 music hit, and they were gonna come like help Miz, I guess, and it was all like a swerve because the Miz from behind wax Eric Rowan with a steel chair, and that was basically the swerve. So, you know, the Wyatts kind of deserve this because he fucking was captured by them and held captive, so he got back at them and fucking smashed Eric Rowan with the chair a couple times and gave him a skull-crushing finale and gave Karrion Kross a hug, which the WWE cameras did in AEW where they didn't really catch the hug. So usually WWE do a really good job of like capturing a shot where I could get like a screenshot. But for this segment, I didn't find one. But anyways, so the Miz got over on the Wyatts, but the Wyatts, it's not over between them and Final Testament. But I actually was a big fan of this segment and the Miz. If Robert was too, on our ratings, Robert gave it a thumbs up. He said he was surprised that the Miz actually like fooled him with his acting. Me too. I wasn't expecting it, so I freaking love this. I gave it 2 thumbs up. I gave this Miz segment a 2 thumbs up, and you gave it a thumbs down. So you didn't like it, but okay. If you have any thoughts on it, you can give it now. It's up to you.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense as usual because last week when he's kidnapped, the Wyatt family or Howdy Doody or Uncle Howdy or whatever the hell his name is was saying like, "Oh, I don't care about the Final Testament. I care about kidnapping you." Basically, you were the target the whole time. But anyway, so then they come back to this week. Okay, he was free, and all he said was, "I'm going to be great. I'm going to be good." And I guess they did let him go for that reason. And then I guess this was like a whole the swerve doesn't make any sense because they said they don't care about Final Testament. That's what they said. So why are they attacking? Why did they come to save the Miz and attack Final Testament? Right?
Because the Miz promised to change his ways. That's why. So they had to help him, but they got swerved by him. They should have never let his ass go. They should have held his ass hostage in there forever. But anyways, all right.
I guess, but I don't care. I think the reason I mean, look at everybody involved. I mean, this is a mess of epic proportions.
Hey,
I mean,
this is the first thing Final Testament's involved in that I actually think is decent. So I don't know.
Well, I think we'll have to agree to disagree. I think this is not very decent at all. But okay, I mean, I guess everybody has their opinion. But no, I did not care for this.
If you didn't like it, you didn't like it, man. What do you want me to say? I don't.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna force you to like it, but I'm not mad at you either. If you like what you like, but hey,
exactly.
Second of my 3 honorable mentions. Let me jump to SmackDown. So I'm on November 15th, just for reference sake, and this was LA Knight doing a open challenge, I guess. I think.
Yes, a U.S. champion.
I was disappointed to see Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma come out because I was like, I rolled my eyes, like, come on, not again. Like these guys they've already been through it with LA Knight, you know. But I was surprised that I actually liked the Santos Escobar segment on the main roster because this was the first time he actually made me laugh with the Milwaukeeans line.
Milwaukeeans.
He said,
what did he say about them?
He said that sounds like you came from outer space, Milwaukeeans. I was like, that's true. That does sound like an outer space thing. And then the other thing that was hilarious was Humberto Carrillo, I guess was just known as Berto now, like fucking staring a hole through LA Knight. As LA Knight was like, hey man, I hear what you're saying, but this guy's fucking staring a hole through me. And okay, so I also gave this segment 2 thumbs up today. Because I thought LA Knight's promo was fucking banging. So here's I'm gonna play some of LA Knight.
I ain't gonna score 59 on you, but I will get 3 the hard way as you get dropped with a BFT. So I'll give you the opportunity of a lifetime and beat you like your daddy. But don't get excited. The only one that can call me daddy is your girl over here. Yeah. So while she's calling me daddy and you're screaming uncle, I'll have everybody saying, yeah.
Man, that's one for
the Milwaukeeans love it.
That's one for the highlight reels for LA Knight, man, because I thought that was a perfect spot-on promo. He didn't stutter. He fucking nailed it. He was hilarious. His line worked really good. So there was enough in this that I liked to give this 2 thumbs up. I mean, the thing at the end, he beat Berto, obviously. But the thing at the end with Shinsuke Nakamura making his
I
return
totally forgot about that.
and
That's correct.
attacking LA Knight. I mean, look, whatever. Shinsuke is cool. I like him. I don't think this is earth-shattering, but hey, you know what? At least it's going to be a coherent feud for LA Knight that's not, Carmelo Hayes or Andrade or Santos. At least it's somebody to get him a win. So it's fine with it. So I was at 2 thumbs up on that, and you were at indifferent. So this whole thing made you feel nothing. So.
Well, yeah, I will say yes. I do remember LA Knight saying those things, and I'm sure I laughed as well. But the feud I think the reason that I felt nothing, I just want to explain myself, is that it's again with this group, with Escobar and his group. It's just not. I mean, look, Escobar, all these guys are probably pretty good. This group has really not really been it. They haven't really attracted my attention at all. So it was what it was. And Nakamura coming back. I mean, no, Nakamura has been really just been in awful feuds prior to him being out. So I don't know if actually this is an upgrade over Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. I think I'd rather work with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes than.
Well, they can't do that again.
I'm not saying that he should. I'm just saying if you were asking me who I'd rather work with, I think I would rather work with those guys than work with crippled up Nakamura, who can barely do anything out there anymore. So yeah.
What about Berto? You didn't like him?
Well, I don't know much about him. To be honest, I can't say I like him or don't like him.
I don't know. I thought he was.
That's why I guess that's why I'm indifferent, because I don't know much about this Umberto character. But anyways, I'll leave it at that, man. I think we wasted no time on this.
My last honorable mention comes from NXT. Another one. It's Nikkita Lyons. She had a match with Adriana Rizzo from the family, Tony D'Angelo's family.
You told me about this. You said you were a big fan of this. Let me see why.
Well, Rizzo got attacked backstage. It was a sneak attack by Nikkita. She found out it was Nikkita, right? So they had a grudge match. Good match.
Do we know why she attacked her? Or is there any explanation?
Yeah, because Obafemi put her up to it, and she's just looking for any ways to get ahead since she's back. And, she used to be the girl who would get attacked backstage, and now she's said she's going to be the one doing the
attacking. Okay.
Yeah, so
that sort of makes sense.
So she doesn't do her splits move. I guess she used to do the splits and fall on your face like that, but now she goes to the top rope and does like a body splash like that.
Yeah, so, kind of like a Vader bomb type deal.
Yeah, okay. So that's how she won. She won the match. So she was the bad guy. She sneak attacked her, and then she beat her. But there was an afterbirth. So here's Rizzo a little bit, she's fucking mad that she lost. And here she is from behind, so just pissed off. And she's got a fucking wrench that the family used to use when they were bad guys. And they would, sneak that wrench in there and sneak it to Tony D'Angelo. But Rizzo just got all the anger in her heart and just fucking whacked Nikkita with the fucking crowbar. The baby face. And that was that. That was the.
All right. I don't know.
It.
Okay.
My rating on this, 2 thumbs up. I loved it. Robert gave it a thumbs up. Hey, I like it. I'm like, why do you have to just take the loss just because you lost? Fuck this bitch. I mean, she fucking beat your ass and a couple weeks ago backstage. Get back at her. I don't know if this is the end of it, but it might be. It might not be. But anyways, all right. That's enough. I think we're over an hour and 20 minutes. I usually try to aim for an hour. My computer monitor went out right here, so I've been looking at my TV because, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know why my computer monitor just goes out sometimes, and I don't want to restart the computer in the middle of our show. So it's all right. I got through the last 20 minutes like this. But all right, unless you have any other honorable mentions or things you want to talk about, it's up to you. No. I mean, we skipped over Nia Jax and teaming with. For some reason, she's teaming with Liv Morgan and Raquel and everything. I don't know. I think they're just trying to make a Survivor Series team. Honestly, I don't really think. So, yeah, I don't really see why Liv is teaming with them because they were just feuding with each other on Crown Jewel.
That's right. They had the match, right?
I don't know about that one.
I don't know. I don't know either. I can't. I mean, outside of maybe going forward, I'll try to see if there's any actual honorable mentions that you don't mention. That's like you don't discuss.
Yeah. From now on, you should like while you're watching wrestling throughout the week, like, you know what? I'll
Let's
write
see if
these
there's
down
anything. I'll add some honorable mentions going forward, but nothing that really comes to mind as of now.
All right then, Vlad. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you had a little operation the other day, so
yes,
I'm glad that you were able to make it on the show today, and we'll see what we can do in terms of subscribers. I think we're up to like 412, something like that.
Oh, nice, man!
Yeah,
yes,
we've been consistently picking up some people here and there. If anyone's interested in wrestling talk,
the goal to 500. For
right now, the goal is 500, but really the goal is 1 million. We'll get there someday, but...
I mean, you know what I'm saying, like the short-term goal.
Yes. Well, no, it's going well. I'm happy with that. So if anybody wants to subscribe, please do. I'm planning on starting the This Week in TNA show also coming up. So I want to review Impact for, separately from this show, because I don't think Vlad or Robert really want to watch Impact, to be honest.
No,
which is okay.
Sorry.
I'll do it. I've been watching it, so I'm planning on doing that sometime this week. But also, we got this show that we've been doing this week in WWE and AEW, so that's been a running series. So please subscribe if you haven't yet. If you need to save on data, we're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Our podcast is listed on the RSS feed, so you could just listen to it if you want. If you're in a poor country where you don't have a lot of data, I understand. It's better. Don't waste your data on just looking at our mugs on YouTube. But anyways, that's all I got for today. Also, the review posts. So I forgot about that. Every angle we don't review on here on the podcast, we'll review on the post. Just thumbs up, thumbs down, maybe a quick comment. But yeah, every angle will at least have some thoughts on that on our YouTube posts. So go there, and there'll be links to all our reviews. So there you go. All right, Vlad, another week in the books. Thank you for being on.
It was great to be here, man. As
Good show. I'm sorry AEW sucks so bad. I wish it was more entertaining for you, but
so do I.
I know. I'm sorry about that. At least we had some good Bloodline stuff. That was good.
Absolutely.
You got to admit. All right, man. Well, Survivor Series is coming up, so we're looking forward to that. I think, is that this week or next week?
No, I think next week is actually Full Gear, and then maybe the week after is probably Survivor Series.
Okay, all right then. So we got some time. All right then. Full Gear it is. Let's do it.
Yes, right. Let's do it.
Until next time, sayonara. See you later.
Turn on the lights, feel the beat. Pressing tails can't be beat. Join the crew, take your seat. Welcome to the wrestle heat. All the birds want time to fly. Stories don't catch your eye. Talking champs till we die. The smoke's always high. Fights and myths, so we say. Heroes rise and sway. In the ring, night and day. Wrestling talk, come and stay. Now the birds want time to fly. Stories don't catch your eye. Talking champs till we die. The smoke's always high.